Tonight on Denver 7 News at 6.
It's indescribable what these individuals did to her.
A family demands action after a single mom is murdered by strangers.
Beth McCann, it's in your hands to make this right.
A Denver police officer vouches for a man accused of beating a cop during the Capitol riots.
Investigators close the book on a 40-year-old cold case.
This team will always continue that pursuit of justice.
Lawmakers come up with a replacement for a downed Civil War statue.
And snow? Yes. Snow day? Not necessarily.
You know, we've all adjusted to this higher threshold of what normal is, and it's taking away a lot of those simple pleasures in life.
Good evening, and thanks for watching Denver 7. I'm Ann Trujillo.
And I'm Shannon Ogden. In almost every picture of Pamela Cabriales, she's smiling. And why not? She enjoyed her work as a real estate agent. She loved being a mom to her 6-year-old son. This is the way her family will remember her.
Right after they get justice. Cabriales was shot Saturday night while driving home from dinner. Her loved ones said their final goodbyes on Wednesday and then sat down with Denver 7's Lance Hernandez today.
We are all just devastated.
Family and friends remembering Pam Cabriales, a young mom and realtor who was shot and killed while driving on West Colfax near I-25 Saturday. Police tweeting that suspects fired shots into a vehicle and fled.
She was a ray of sunshine. She was always worried about other people.
Oh my God, we grew up together.
Longtime friend Myra Zambrano choking with emotion.
We've been since little girls. We used to play Barbies. Teenagers, we would get in trouble together. She's like my sister.
She was having dinner with a friend, left the place and was heading home.
Police say the suspects were driving a dark-colored Honda, which they've linked to a shooting at a McDonald's on West Alameda the night before. 3 shots fired into the occupied restaurant. Police spotted the car after midnight Sunday and used a pit maneuver to stop it on South Tejon near West Byers. The 3 teens inside fled but were caught. 18-year-old Nishan Johnson being held for investigation of attempted murder. Police found ammunition in the shed he was hiding in and 2 AR-15 rifles in the Honda.
The emotions are just indescribable that, you know, my mother's going through.
For the second time.
For the second time, she's had a child taken from her with gunshot wounds to the head.
Pam's brother Noel was shot and killed over an incident involving a Rottweiler in 1994. Brother Alex says the shooter spent little time behind bars.
If the minors were old enough to pull the trigger, they're old enough to do the time.
The family grieving for their sister and for a young nephew who no longer has a mom. They have a direct message for Denver's DA.
We want justice to be served. The first time around when our brother was murdered in '94, he got manslaughter, walked after 2 or 3 years in prison, got out and killed someone else. So Beth McCann, it's in your hands to make this right.
A GoFundMe account has been set up to help Pam's little boy. We'll have a link on our website. Lance Hernandez, Denver 7.
A person identifying as a Denver police sergeant vouched for the character of a Colorado man charged in the Capitol insurrection. That person said of Jeffrey Sable, quote, "He has always shown support and empathy for the challenges that face law enforcement officers." Now, Sable is accused of dragging an officer down the Capitol steps as well as striking an officer with a police baton. He later claimed he was actually trying to protect police, but admits his memory of what happened was fuzzy. A reach for comment, a spokesperson for the Denver Police Department condemns the actions of those who took part in that riot and is extremely disappointed that one of its officers would submit a letter in support of a suspect.
An arrest has been made in the 1981 murder of a Cherry Hills Village woman. 34-year-old Sylvia Quayle's body was discovered in her living room. She'd been shot and stabbed. Well, Quayle's sister and brother-in-law, they're still alive. Her parents died some time ago.
To meet Sylvia's family today means a lot to me. And when I read this case and realized that her father found her in the condition that I know she was in, the way that she was left after being brutalized and killed. I can't imagine. And I know he's not here, and for me, that's part of the hardest part of solving these 40-year-old cases, and we've solved quite a few of them now, is that some of the people that want answers, that need closure, they don't get it.
This is the suspect, 62-year-old David Dwayne Anderson. He was caught through the use of genetic databases. Anderson was living in Nebraska and will be extradited to Colorado. A petition to recall the Lake County coroner has been approved for signature gathering.
Coroner Shannon Kent has resisted resigning even as legal issues pile up. He was arrested last week after police found remains belonging to someone he was trusted to bury months ago. And before that, he was accused of sending his wife to crime scenes when he couldn't make it. Survivors of sexual assault will have more rights under a bill moving through the state legislature right now. So current law says that people assaulted as children have 6 years to file a civil suit after turning 18. This new bill does away with those time restrictions altogether.
One thing that I've heard over and over again is that if you've been victimized as a child, you may not be able to tell your story until you're 40 or 50 years old. And this bill says we respect that as a state, and we're going to give you as much time as you need to be able to tell your story.
A similar bill was proposed last year, but that one failed because of technical difficulties.
FAFSA, 5 letters that strike dead in the hearts of high school students, and it doesn't have to be that way. We have experts from the Denver Scholarship Foundation standing by right now, right this moment, to answer your questions about financial aid. And maybe you're thinking you don't have a question about financial aid just yet. Well, it doesn't matter the age of your kids, because I promise you will.
It's just going through like the process at first and having someone explain to you what is this for and what does that do. It kind of makes the process a little bit more easier and a little bit more concise.
It's worth the call because it is hard to get through the process. So the number to call is 303-777-7492. Again, these volunteers, they're ready right now to take your calls. They'll be answering the phones until 6:30, and we will not be offended if you pause this broadcast and then come back to us later.
27,000 doses of the vaccine administered today in Colorado. 15,000 were first shots. 12,000 were second shots. And with the cases declining, Jefferson County now will move to level blue on the COVID dial tomorrow. That means businesses can serve more customers, and last call won't come until midnight. Jefferson now the second metro county to go blue. Broomfield was the first.
It's like a rite of passage in Colorado.
A foot of snow and kids are still in school?
I was kind of irritated.
What is this, Wisconsin?
I am grateful that, parents decided to use that right to take their kids out of school today and, have a snow day, be able to have fun, play snowball fights or go sledding.
We're going 360 on the snow day that got away after the break.
You remember those snow days. They were important and they stick for a reason.